So would you like to, you have had a little bit of a different position because you're not a trainee in this Polart project. You're working inside of the project but also working on stage. But could you tell a bit about the experience you had during this last couple of days working with the staging part of Truth Motherfucker?
It was extremely intense, but in a very good way. Not stressful, but it was nice to dive into this process and be just totally focused for these just few days. I find that it happens a lot with people when you have this short period of time, you work really intensely. It gives a different experience working on stage, I think.
Mm. But how have you been working? You mentioned it's intense, but how have the exercises looked? How has the staging looked?
The exercises, as I experienced them, was very comforting and creating a lot of trust in the group. We were just these people not knowing each other, being thrown into this group.
How do you think it comes? Like you say you just met and then you go to be very honest and very open with yourself. Why do you think you feel so safe to be able to do it?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with Berit, because she creates this room of trust where she's very honest with herself and very transparent. And that allows you and invites you to be transparent and honest with your own life story.
Mm. But how was it to take these stories and putting them on a stage together with 3 other people this time and making a performance out of it? How was that specific part of the process, being there?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I love working on the stage, and it was interesting to work with both Berit and Jonas this time, with the directing and how the text with our very individual stories, how to make them come together and tell a story together with these individual stories.
What is the strongest memory that you will carry from this experience?
I think it was my dance together with Lorenzo, because he comes from absolutely no experience of being on stage. So I thought he was so courageous and brave. And open to my suggestion that I wanted to do a dance with him. And he was like, yeah. And I think that was very much part of this honest room that allowed him to just, I trust in this.
But what do you think is important if you're going to put up a piece like this, if you're going to have a group and doing the Truth Motherfucker? What do you think is important to think of? Like if you, from outside, wants to try this out, what do you think is important for a potential leader and what is important to think about?
Well, I think it is the room. I think to create this room of trust where you feel that it's all right to cry, it's all right to be open with your emotions, because we don't really have that room anywhere. But it's also something else. It's something also that to show interest for these kind of stories in people. To actually ask the questions from the start, because we don't really do that. So I think that also is important, the questions that you ask to people.
Yeah, what I understand, that you really enjoyed the experience, that it feels safe and open. What do you think is like the crucial qualities for a leader?
Well, I think the crucial qualities are that the leader should be very open with him or herself, very honest, transparent, interested, and truly interested in other people's stories.
How important is the group in this work?
I think it is very important, because if someone opens up, then it's easier for someone else to open up, and then it goes by itself that okay, so now we're telling our stories, and then we find that, well, my emotions and my stories are not so weird or strange, but we recognize ourselves in each other. So I think that becomes very powerful.